Hi everyone, welcome back. So it's the Rare Youth team here again today. We hope you've had a great time so far on today and you've been enjoying all the sessions. So this is our Hot Topics panel and we're going to be discussing topics from mental health, education, raising awareness, relationships, transitioning in the healthcare setting, and all the things that really matter to young people in the rare disease community. So my name's Daisy, you know me from earlier, I think, hopefully. And I'm just going to go round and we're going to get to know everyone else a little bit better. So if we can start with Katy B.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Katy, I'm 23. I have a rare disease that affects approximately 1 in 100,000 people. I'm a member of the Rare Youth team and I've done bits and pieces with them before, and I have my own podcast that raises awareness of rare diseases, and it lets patients and healthcare professionals share their experiences so others can learn from it.
Amazing, we love it. It's such a great initiative. Podcasts are very cool at the moment. Okay, lovely to meet you, Katy B, again. So now I'm going to go to Eddison, the dude.
Hi, my name's Eddison and I am 9 years old and I have xeroderma pigmentosum.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Nicola Miller. I'm Edison's mum and I am the co-founder and editor of Rare Revolution magazine, and I'm going to be taking a back seat now. I'm just here to see everyone and say hi, and I'll speak to you all again at the end of the session.
Thanks Nicola. Thank you, Eddison. Now we're going to go to Katrina. Hi.
Hi, I'm Katrina, I'm 21. I've recently joined Rare Revolution and I advocate for other young people with long-term health conditions and invisible diseases.
Thank you, Katrina. And now we're going to Katy with an IE.
Yes, hi, I'm Katy, I'm 18, and again, I've sort of recently joined Rare Youth Revolution, but I do a lot of advocacy alongside it, and I have my own organisation called Cards of Bravery, so yeah.
Awesome, lovely to meet you too. And Georgia.
Yeah, hi, I'm Georgia. You might have seen me this morning with Daisy. I have Friedreich's ataxia. I'm 23 years old. And yeah, I'm interested in anything rare disease.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So we're going to kick off the session with the topic of mental health. This is something that me and Katy got to speak about in quite a lot of depth on her podcast. So I think that's the best place to start. How do you feel, Katy? So with your mental health as a young person, with a rare disease, do you feel like you've been supported with this in your journey so far, or is there room for improvement? What are your kind of feelings around the mental health area?
I think that depending on how rare your rare disease is, it can often affect the support you get. So for example, my rare disease, there isn't a patient group for them. So I haven't had any support like specialised in that area. But yeah, I know that rare disease can really affect your mental health, and often that can get overlooked in healthcare settings because obviously you're there for your physical health and not your mental health. Yeah, like it can cause stress, anxiety, some people low mood, but yeah, I think it really depends on the rare disease that you have, but then also how open you are about it. I think that sometimes if, like, for example, it didn't affect my mental health till I was about 18, I'd say, but I was like born with the condition. And I was lucky enough to like get support from my physio and counsellor, but I know some people either A, can't afford it, B, don't know where to get help, or C, because they're feeling that way, they don't think they deserve to get help, because obviously you do. So yeah, I think there are loads of barriers there, and it's not often recognised by healthcare professionals, because obviously you're there for your physical health, not your mental health.
Yeah, I understand that. It's something that I found when I was diagnosed as a teen. I was straight away offered help from a support group for the physical aspect. They directed me to a lip reading community, which is obviously a good thing as well. Like, it's good you need to help the physical side, but I was kind of also thinking, ooh, this is a bit scary, and I'd like to know other people that have this and what's going on. So I think there is definitely a lack of communication between the healthcare settings and these support groups that are out there. So I think, yeah, I understand that, and I think it would be really good if we could try somehow to connect them eventually.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously your physical health and mental health go hand in hand, don't they? Like, I'm sure if some people are stressed, you can get a headache, or yeah, you know what I mean. And obviously, especially like chronic illnesses, mental health can really affect your physical health, and vice versa. So they need to be treated as a holistic approach, not just separately. Yeah.
So spot on. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add for that little bit?
Just that I think early intervention is really important. Like, you might not think that it will affect your mental health from day one, especially like if you're born with a condition, because you don't really know any different. But I think from a patient and like health professional point of view, getting support early is really important for not just the patient but the whole family, so you can understand the whole story, if you like.
Yeah, I get that. It's kind of like a process, isn't it? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
have the support all along the way, not just when it gets really bad.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Katy. Gonna just move on to Eddison now. Hey, Eddison.
Before Eddison answers his question, Daisy, can we just let Nazhi introduce herself? I think we they're off at the start.
Oh, Nazhi.
Thanks, everyone.
My bad. Nazhi, tell us who you are, please.
Before you had started saying the names, I was like, was I supposed to introduce myself?
Oh, I said it. My bad. Go ahead.
So hi everyone, my name is Nazhi. I am known as Nazhi the Baker, and some people also know me as the little brown girl with the green hair. My rare condition is sickle cell anemia. I have been stricken with sickle cell anemia since birth, along with my two sisters, my younger sister Italia and my older sister Shakara. I bake natural and organic treats for children that's living with cancer, sickle cell anemia, and different forms of chronic illnesses. And I also try to advocate about sickle cell anemia and just different forms of chronic illnesses that doesn't have a lot of light on it, because a lot of people in the community should know more about your illness, because we deserve to let people know about what we go through on a daily basis with our illness.
Yes, we definitely do. I'm very sorry about that. I thought I mentioned you. So, but we're going to hear a lot more from Nazhi later on. Thank you so much. So back to Eddison. So Eddison, how do you help at school? How do you help people to understand your rare condition? And yeah,
it was really important to me that people understood my protective equipment, and that I'm just a normal kid. And the charity Teddington Trust gave me a school pack to schools and created an animation using kids from my school. Every year I do an assembly and show the animations and talk about how they can help me. And also we have a bear and a book all for the classrooms to learn about.
Wow, that's awesome. So everyone gets their own bear. That's so cool. Well done. That's amazing. I think that's really important, and it's so good that you get to do that at your school. I think it should definitely be something that can be done at everyone's schools. I think if you think about climate change, right? So trust me, I know where I'm going with this. So when I was at primary school, we learned about that a lot, and it's a very important thing. It's good to learn about it. But I think if we were learning about rare disease just as much as we were learning about climate change, this can help with like early diagnosis. Because I'm thinking my situation, if I knew what rare diseases were when I was little, I might have gone home to my mum or dad and said, oh, could my ear, could that be rare disease? And then they would have probably gone to the doctor and been like, could this be this? So I think it is super important what you're doing, Eddison. Good work in schools with the bears. Cool. Thank you. So next we're going to go to Katrina. Hi. Just wanted to talk about raising awareness really for rare disease and conditions, and from your point of view, what do you think needs to be done, and what kind of issues have you come across so far?
Well, I had lupus, but when I was younger, it was GSLE, which is a rare disease. And it was very hard to visibly see what was wrong with me. It was hard to communicate, and especially as a child and as a young teenager, trying to get the message across to other people. When I was feeling it was very difficult. And it's sometimes overlooked or you're ignored because, I mean, visibly you're fine. So maybe inside you're fine and they just assume. So I think during that time, I had a lot of key people in the school who knew about my condition and understood that when I said I needed a break or I needed to sit down or go home. I think that's a key thing to have, is maybe like an ID card where you'd list your illnesses or signs that you're sick. I think those are really helpful things to do.
Yeah.
Also to share it with people that you're comfortable with, so maybe like your friend, or maybe if you're at work, a colleague. I think in any situation, identifying someone that you can trust, or at least you can know you can be open with, is a great way to help let your disease be seen, even if it's not visible. And I think also educating yourself on things about your illness so that you can pass it on to other people, because like you said, maybe if I had my disease and I was talking about it with my friends, maybe they could pinpoint something within themselves that they saw within the disease that could help with early diagnosis. And I think maybe pointing them toward useful websites or different books or charities could help. And I think being creative about raising awareness within your school or workplace, wherever you are, is great. Like Eddison at his school doing a little promotion, it's an amazing way to help raise awareness. And it also is a great way to raise money. And I think it's just a great way to remove some of the stigma and just help raise awareness for rare diseases overall.
Yeah, that's really insightful. I think they're brilliant points. I think it's definitely something that, I mean, you could have like charities come into schools and teach about specific rare diseases, like even if it was just twice a year or something. It doesn't, you know, need to be every week, but something rather than nothing, I think is really important. So thank you for raising all those points, Katrina. I'm just kind of aware of time, and I want everyone to be able to talk, so I'm not going to talk anymore. So I'm going to go to Nazhi. Hi, so Nazhi, we spoke before about your mum and dad and your kind of view on genetic testing and how you think that should be kind of something that's taught about or learnt about or spoken about more with regards to sickle cell. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So I would have to say about genetic testing with starting with my mom and my dad. At first, they did not know anything about sickle cell anemia until my mom had her her second child, which is my oldest sister, Shakara. And coming to find out, my mom was wondering why Shakara was having so much crisis, and she noticed that one time she took her to the doctor and they had a gene test on Shakara, and they also said that how she had a rare disorder, which was sickle cell anemia. And my mom was really confused. My grandma knew that they had the sickle cell trait in our family, but then coming to find out, my dad did not know anything about that. He swore up and down that his family didn't have sickle cell inside of his family. And coming to find out, once Shakara was born, she was with sickle cell anemia. And I feel like genetic testing is extremely important, because then people should know more about anything before they begin to get into a relationship or before they plan on having a family, because then you don't want that child to be stricken with a disorder and you feel like it's too hard to handle, or it may become overwhelming, because my mom and my dad went through the same thing. It was extremely stressful. My mom would run out the house just because it was just too much to bear. And I feel like that you should prepare before ahead of time. And there's also a doctor, I'm not sure about the name, I still have to ask my mom. And this doctor basically takes out certain genes well, like for the children, certain eggs from out of the mom and the dad, and they put it together, and just to make sure that that specific child doesn't have that rare disorder that you may have or that your husband may have.
Oh, wow, that's so interesting. You're so full of knowledge, and I'd love to learn more about that because it's a really important topic. I'm just aware of time again, sorry. So I'm going to go to Katy so we can talk a bit about how do you feel being a young person and having transitioned in the healthcare setting?
Yeah, so I think I'm like very passionate about transition in the healthcare system, especially when you have like a more complex and rare disease, because it's so important that the transition process is done smoothly. And I think when you have more of like an MDT approach, like multiple, like different teams, it can be more difficult handing it over. And I think there's so much more that can be done. So I think it's so important to start it early. I think, you know, with a lot of rare diseases, you are diagnosed more early, but also when you're older. So I think, you know, if you know you're going to be having adult care, to start that transition as early as possible so people are more prepared. And it's so important to have like successful communication and it being like patient-centered, but also remembering that once we are an adult, that we're still a child. Like even if you're 18, yes, you're mature, but you know, you're still a young adult, and going into adults and being on adult wards and in adults teams, it's so isolating and so scary. And I think still having those resources that young kids, like young children, adolescents do in pediatrics, even when you're an adult, it's just so important. There's a lot I can say about this, but I'm aware of time as well. So I'll sort of like keep it to that. But I think, yeah, it's just so important, just I think, to communicate with the patient, to start it early and to remember that like we're still young, we're not full adults yet.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's really important. I still want my mum there all the time.
Yeah.
All of my appointments. So I think, yeah, there's a balance and it's good to raise awareness of that. Georgia. Hello. So we're going to talk about role models a bit and what's kind of sparked your passion within advocacy and how you feel role models need to be like more represented in the media with rare disease and disability.
Yeah, so my interest in role models came about because I was diagnosed when I was 15, and when you're a teenager, the media is so important. Role models are so important. Celebrities are so important. And to me, there was nobody that I could look up to that had a rare disease or that presented the way that I did. And I found that really difficult. And then as a few years went on, I noticed that a couple of films have been made about rare disease and stuff, which is great, but they're all sad films, which didn't have a great impact on my mental health. And I think it's just so important for young people to have someone to look up to who is like them, so that they're not always comparing themselves to something that they will never reach, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go on. Carry on.
Sorry, are we running out of time?
It's okay, just quick.
So the reason that I became so interested in advocacy is because I thought if there's no one to look up to, I just kind of need to do it myself.
Yes, that is so important. We're all doing it for ourselves. And so we've only got 2 minutes left. Thank you so much, Georgia. I just wanted to introduce Nicola, who's going to give us some exciting news.
I'm going to do it really quickly. That was so inspiring and we could have talked for an hour. So I hope we can do this again soon. Exciting news coming from the Rare Revolution magazine. We are really committed to recruitment. And so from next week, we are launching a recruitment for somebody from within the rare youth community, aged 18 to 25, to join us for a full-time paid intern for 12 months. That person will be our youth coordinator and will be driving forward a really big ambitious project we have for a global internship program which will facilitate lots of young people into short-term and long-term internships to get great skills for entering the workplace. And we'll be using all of the work that you're all doing to bring this together. So it's really exciting for this one post, which will be coming online. So check all our channels from next week. And then from that will become big global opportunities for the whole of the rare disease youth community. So we're super excited about it. So check all our channels from next week. And thank you to everyone. You've all been so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm sorry it was super like little snippets, but we will definitely catch up again soon. And I look forward to seeing you all more and featuring at lots more events like this so we can spread the word and raise awareness. So thank you very much. Any questions you have in the chat, we will get back to you over email later on. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.